Alright, this video is about Christmas classics, but also television shows that had specials, Christmas specials. Originally I planned to do these as separate videos, but time is short. I've got a lot to do to get ready for my Christmas activities, so I just combined them. So I'll talk about Christmas television first. I've got a couple of DVDs here, one of which is a British animated show, or animated Christmas special, called Robbie the Reindeer, which is actually pretty good. It's the guy behind, he was one of the writers on Mr. Bean, and he's made some movies like Love Actually, and I'm drawing blanks, but let me pull up his name here. Richard Curtis, that's what I'm thinking of. Richard Curtis. This DVD actually has two Christmas specials: Robbie the Reindeer, Hooves of Fire, and Robbie the Reindeer, Legend of the Lost Tribe. And it's got a lot of adult humor mixed in, so that, you know, it's one of those that adults can enjoy as much as kids. There's this American version actually has a separate soundtrack you can choose, and American actors have dubbed in voices, which I thought was kind of silly, because it's not like we can't understand British accents all of a sudden. But I guess they wanted to pull in some names like Ben Stiller, Brad Garrett, names like that. But I prefer the British soundtrack because that's what it was originally made for. But entertaining, very entertaining. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And then the other special I want to talk about, of course, a lot of TV series have Christmas episodes or Christmas specials, but this one I thought was pretty great because it's the last episode of the actual series, and that's The British Office, the Christmas special. When I first saw this series, I saw the second season and thought the last episode was it. And for those of you familiar with the series, you know that it ends in a pretty bad place there in that end of that second season. So I was pretty blown away. And then I found out there was the Christmas special, so that continued the story. And it's an excellent Christmas special. Of course, if you haven't seen it, I wouldn't recommend just jumping to the Christmas special. You want to watch the series, and this is a perfect way to cap off a series. One of the best series ending episodes of all time, in my opinion. And it's got some good Christmas stuff in there as well. Now, other Christmas TV shows I wanted to mention, I actually don't own. But I did want to mention them because they are some of my favorite. I just don't happen to own them yet. I would like to own them at some point. There's some of the standards, like the Chuck Jones Grinch That Stole Christmas, the animated. That's the animated Grinch. That's a classic I need to own. I was never a fan of the movie, the live action movie, but a big fan of Chuck Jones and the animated version. As well as, you know, all the stop motion Christmas specials I grew up on, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. I think the animation company was Bass Rankin. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that. But those were always great. I would love to own those. Just haven't found them at the right price or at the right time yet. And then, you know, like the animated Frosty the Snowman was a favorite as a kid. Wouldn't mind owning that just for nostalgia's sake. I think that does it for TV. Now, some of those TV specials, to me, overlaps into classics. I consider those classics. So now I'll talk about some classic Christmas films, Christmas movies. This first one I'm going to talk about, I think some people questioned why I wasn't in the comedy video I did, and that's because I think now it's considered a classic by most people, and that's A Christmas Story. Great movie if you've never seen it. If you've never seen it, then you don't have the TV on around Christmas time, because there are some stations, I think TBS is the one, that will play it back to back for like 24 hours. But a great movie, came out in the 80s and actually did not do that well when it came out. And it just found its audience on television. And I'm a huge fan of it. Another reason I felt like it should go in the classic section is recently, I'm trying to remember the name of the organization. It's a national, like National Film Archive, perhaps. Again, somebody correct me if I've got that wrong. But they recently chose it as a film to be preserved. It's a national organization that chooses films every year to preserve as American classics. And A Christmas Story was chosen as one of those films this year. So that's another reason why it can be considered a classic. I need to get the Blu-ray. I know it's out there, so I have to own it. And then there's the Christmas classic that has a very similar kind of story to A Christmas Story, as far as not being successful when it first came out in the theater, but later finding its audience through television, and that's It's a Wonderful Life. It was not successful when it came out in the theaters. I do own it on DVD, but it is loaned out. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call from, it's my cousin and his wife, and I got a phone call earlier today, and they were saying they were going to be watching it tonight, so for the first time. So that's cool. But it's another classic Christmas film that, again, it's shown on a lot of TV stations around the holidays, and that's been going on for a while, obviously, and that's how it got popular. You got Jimmy Stewart, you got Frank Capra directing, who's, in my mind, I always think of him as kind of like the Steven Spielberg of his time, because he did a very good job of touching on the nostalgia, some people would say corny, but It's a Wonderful Life has some dark moments, like Jimmy Stewart's character when he's a kid is trying to warn the pharmacist who's drunk that he's filled a prescription wrong, and it could kill the person. And the pharmacist, his reaction is just to beat Jimmy Stewart's character, smack him on the head, and he smacks him in the ear, and he starts bleeding from the ear. It's just things like that that just kind of give the movie a little bit of an edge. That makes it interesting. But a really good movie. Of course, life affirming, which is what you want to kind of watch, at the holidays. So it makes it definitely a Christmas classic. Another one is that, again, I don't own, is Miracle on 34th Street, the original. I remember liking that movie. I'd love to own it. I just, haven't found it at the right price or at the right time. I also remember seeing there was a version done in the 70s, I want to say, or early 80s maybe. I remember liking that as a kid, but I'm sure that might not hold up. And then there was a remake in the 90s, and I'm not sure if I even saw that. But I kind of want to revisit that. I don't know if I saw it and it was just forgettable. But I know John Hughes wrote the script, and I'm not always a fan of everything he's written, but I do like John Hughes. So I wouldn't mind checking that out. I think Dylan McDermott's in that. Not Dermot Mulroney, Dylan McDermott. So yeah, if you've seen that and you remember that, let me know, if that's worth me seeking out at some point to see if it's any good. And let me know what Christmas classics that you like that I may have left off. Obviously, comment on the ones that I've mentioned. I know there's tons of Christmas movies out there, so the term classic is, depending on how you feel about the movie. A lot of the films I mentioned in the the horror video, the action video, and the comedy video, to me are kind of classics because I like to see them year after year. But this, I was trying to kind of bring up the movies that are universally considered classics. So yeah, definitely mention what you would suggest down below. And I think that does it for all these Christmas videos, so I hope you've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed making them and coming up with the titles I wanted to talk about. Have a great Christmas, because I won't be doing another one of these until maybe the New Year's. I think I might put together some type of favorite movies of 2012 video for New Year's. And then I'll resume Blu-ray updates and Film Noir Fridays come January. So I hope you have a great Christmas. Happy New Year. My heat just cut off, so you can hear me a little better now maybe. Notice there's no gunshots in the background. That's always a plus. And if you don't know what that's in reference to, you need to watch the favorite Christmas movies comedy video. So yeah, have a good Christmas, and we'll see you next time.